Umaga na sa ating duyan, wag na mawawala. Umaga na sa ating duyan, magmamahal o maiwagan.
This poem is for the hands that build cities but were never allowed to live in them. For the backs that broke beneath concrete but were never given a bed soft enough to rest. This poem is for the world that feeds everyone except the one who planted the seed. It begins on a street where no one looks down, where a man becomes invisible just because he asked for change, where a child calls sidewalk home and hope is counted in coins that never came. They say, work hard and you'll make it. But how can you climb when the ladder has no bottom rung? How do you save when every cent goes to survive? This is for the jeepney driver who skips meals so others can ride. For the vendor whose sunburn tells time. For the janitor who cleans the rooms they are never allowed to enter freely. This is for the mother who waters soup to make it enough. For the father who counts calluses like medals. For the child whose dreams are priced by tuition they'll never afford. For the elderly who once carried nations but are now forgotten in the very cities they helped raise. They say the world is advanced now, global, digital, and instant. But for the ones beneath the system, everything is still loading. They still wait for dignity, for equity, for something more than survival. She doesn't need Wi-Fi. She needs someone to hold her hand. He doesn't need likes. He needs enough to pay rent. You think you're poor because you don't have the newest phone? Some don't even have a name on their birth certificate, or a chair in the classroom, or a voice in the law, or a seat at the table they helped carve with their own blood. Let's stop saying they're just poor, as if poverty is a personality trait. Let's stop pretending that rest is laziness when some have never known a day off. Let's stop ignoring the truth that this world runs on the exhaustion of the ones we refuse to name. This is for the grandmother selling pastillas outside a mall she can't enter. For the construction worker eating lunch beside the building he's not allowed to live in. For the delivery rider whose hands hold your food while his stomach stays empty. For the teachers who stay late after class, not just to check papers, but to check if their students are still okay. For the friends who hold the pieces of us even when they're falling apart themselves. For the fast food workers whose smiles stay on even when their feet ache and the world looks down on their dignity. For the frontliners who walked into fire while the rest of us stayed safe behind glass. For the journalists who risk truth in a time when lies are cheaper, louder, and more welcome. For the students who carry the weight of becoming while being told they are not enough. For the farmers who plant under the sun yet often sleeps with an empty plate. For the fishermen who cast their nets before dawn, so someone else's morning can begin with grace. For the street sweepers who rise before the city does, clearing away what others leave behind, yet remain unseen. For the garbage collector who carry our waste, but are weighed down more by our silence. For the domestic helpers who mother children not their own, and still send love back home, in tired hands and quiet tears. For the security guards who keep watch even when no one watches them back. For the overseas workers who miss every birthday so their families never have to miss a year. For the construction workers who raise buildings that will never know their names. For the unpaid interns and volunteers who give so much for promises they may never see fulfilled. For the survivors of injustice who still choose to wake up and speak and fight and heal. For the children who had to grow up too soon, whose laughter was traded for responsibility they never asked for. For the LGBTQIA+ community who whisper their truth in a world that shouts them down. For the indigenous people whose roots run deeper than any city built over them. For the unemployed dreamers who still hold on to fate, to fight, to maybe. For the prisoners seeking redemption who write their futures on the walls of regret. For the disabled and chronically ill whose strength does not look like running, but staying and surviving. When did we stop seeing them? When did we let the world label people as disposable just because they don't have a blue check, a car, a diploma? This is for the brown, the bruised, the bent, but never broken. For the tired, the trying, the trembling, but still standing. Because their silence is not weakness, it's exhaustion. Their stillness is not apathy, it's resistance. And still, they rise. They wake before dawn. They serve without credit. They give even when empty. They carry burdens they never created. They are the unsung engine of the world. And maybe they've been quiet for too long. So let this poem speak where their voices cracked. Let this video be the microphone they never had. Let our eyes open fully, finally, to those the world keeps looking away from. You are the reason the world still turns, and you will not be silent anymore. Because change does not begin in places. It begins in pockets of courage, in tired hands that keep moving, in unheard voices that keep rising, in quiet people who choose to speak even when no one is listening. You, yes, you watching this, you have the power. Even if the world keeps telling you you're too small, too poor, too late, too young, you are not too late to care, to speak, to fight, to rebuild the world in the shape of kindness, in the sound of equity, in the light of justice that remembers every single name we've spoken in this poem, and even those we haven't. So rise for the nameless, for the weary, for the unseen. Rise not because it's easy, but because it is right. Be the voice that does not tremble. Be the one who stays even when others leave. Be the proof that love still wins, that truth still matters, that compassion still lives. And even if the world forgets again, you won't. We won't. Because we carry them now, in our hearts, in our steps, in our art, in every word we choose to say, when it would have been easier to stay silent. This is for all of them. This is for all of us. This is just the beginning. This is not the end. The world belongs to those who refuse to stop moving. We are the truest heart of this nation.